Really? Am I supposed to answer this? That's what we're going to talk about this evening. You all remember, this is your girl Catrice. I am your sister, your cousin, your friend, your enemy, your daughter, your confidant, child of God, all of those things that we've discussed before. And tonight we are going to talk about kids saying the darndest things. Yes, I really think that show should be brought back. I think Cedric the Entertainer would be a fabulous host for that. So we're going to talk about my son Joshua. For those of you that do not know, I have 4 children. Joshua is the youngest, and he is the only boy out of me and my ex-husband. Excuse me, there are 6 daughters total, with Joshua being the only male child. Excuse me. So he gets away saying, we're not going to do the ums tonight. He gets away with saying a lot more and perhaps doing a lot more than the girls may have gotten away with. Not all the time, but sometimes. He's not like Prince Charming, but he's my baby. He's my boy. So much so that when I was pregnant with him and I went for my ultrasound and the girl said, it looks like a boy, I just bust out crying. And she said, this is not 100%. I said, yes, but it's just the fact that you said it's a boy. I've never even heard those words. It's always been, it's girl, it's girl, it's girl. And I was just praying, Lord, because I did not want any more hair to comb. And the funny thing about that is he likes cornrows and locks and twists. And I'm thinking to myself, I wanted a boy so I could take you to get a haircut. Not so I could do cornrows on you just like the girls. That defeats the purpose. Maybe God was playing a cruel joke on me. However, we're going to talk about some of the things that Joshua has said to me over the last couple of months. Men, please feel free to chime in because, as I said, this is my only son and he is my baby, for lack of a better term. All of the girls are older than him, so I'm dealing with this, from a new mom perspective as far as a boy is concerned. And I'm single. There is no man in my household that lives with us. And so he just comes across with some weird things. One day we're riding in the car and Joshua looks over me and he says, Mom, what? I said, huh? He said, Mom, what? For those of you who didn't understand what I said, he asked me what's P-U-S-S-Y. That's how I looked at him and then God. And I'm thinking to myself, A, where have you heard that? And B, how do I explain that to my child? So I proceeded to tell him that we have discussed anatomically correct men and women before. And so he knows what the proper terminologies are for men and women. We know the proper terminology in my household. We don't run around here calling it stuff that it's not. It is what it is. So I told him, I said, well, vagina, Mom, yes, that is a derogatory term for a woman's female parts. But then I had someone that said to me, well, maybe you should have said it was a cat. Oh, that's not how he meant it. Or maybe you should have said it was something. I knew what he meant when he said it. And so, of course, I'm like, well, where did you? Oh, I heard it on a song. And, well, don't I tell y'all not to play unedited songs? So, yeah, I had to tell him what that was. Fast forward, another time. He comes up to me, and he had been listening to this song, and I sort of knew what it was, but I was going to play it off for a little while. Wait and see. Mom, what's skeet? Yes, people. He asked me, what is skeet? S-K-E-E-T. Skeet. He's asked me this twice. I was just like, oh my goodness. I said, son, well, how do you explain this? And I know I didn't explain it properly. Maybe I should have said skeet shooting. Or maybe I should have said, I think someone said, you know, like when you press the garden hose and the water shoots out. That ain't how that boy, he said, Mom, no, like on the song, to the windows, to the wall. I'm like, oh, okay, so this boy, he know the song. I said, Joshua, where did you hear that? I'm not going to tell y'all where he heard it. It wasn't over here. I'm going to leave it right there. And I said, son, that's a really bad word for your particular age. I said, it's nothing nice. It has to do with sex and men and women. And I would just really not like for you to use that word. Okay. And he runs off. And I'm thinking to myself, where does this stuff come from? Can somebody please help me? Especially as a young man, as a boy, I don't quite know how to handle those kinds of things. Oh, here go the dog. Excuse me 1 second so I don't have to kill Hannah's dog. His name is Comet. That dog is something else. I got him because Hannah begged. Kids say the darndest thing. She started quoting me Bible verses about taking in the poor and the needy. A dog ain't poor or needy. But that's not what I'm on here to talk about. Joshua. So yes, he says some things. And I remember one day we were at church. It wasn't funny. But the pastor it was prayer meeting. And she was talking about, you know, heaven and hell and all of those kinds of things. And she was talking about people being, you know, condemned and whatnot. And so Joshua turned to me. He said, Mom, I don't want to be condemned. And so I had to explain to him, you know, what that meant. It's so funny. He says stuff that blows my mind. I think I told you all we were making Sloppy Joe. I posted about it, and him and his sister couldn't get the can open. And so I used the can opener and opened it immediately. And my daughter was like, how did you do that? And my son said, what? She's been doing it her whole life. She's an independent woman. Boy, you are 9. What do you know about an independent woman? But he's sweet, and he calls, and he tells me he loves me. And I'll never forget one time I wrote him a letter that they read out loud at school before they started taking the STAR test. These standardized tests get on my nerves. And it just told him how much I love him and how I prayed for him, because I really did. I really wanted a son. And so it told him, you know, that I asked God for him and I loved him. And his teacher said in the middle of reading the letter, he just started crying. And I said, Joshua, why did you cry? He said, because you love me so much. So just know that we have an impact on our children that is lasting, regardless of the things they do or say. But I really would like some opinions on how you all address when your son or your daughter, because we've had these daughter discussions as well, says a little something that throws you off guard. I'll admit, I keep a poker face because I don't want you to think that I am fazed by what you are asking me. But in my mind and in my heart, I'm about to die. So, any thoughts or comments would be much appreciated. Tonight, I am drinking another cab. This I got from Specs. I can't remember the name of it, and I'm not going to grab the bottle. But if you like red wines, Cabernets, Merlots, this is one of the better ones. And it has, it's dry, lots of tannins. My boo hates it. My sister can't stand it. But I like it. So, hopefully you all have a blessed evening. Love ya.